I want to share with you the story of the Seeds of Light School in Zanzibar. It all started with Renos, who went to Zanzibar for a vacation, and he met a souvenir salesman named Costiano, and he expressed to Costiano how he would love to see a way to provide education to the children of the community. Costiano saw the trueness in his intention and promised his own land if Renos would find a way to build a school on it. He spoke to his friends and he spoke to the people around him, and he made it in his heart as a mission to make this dream come true. Renos goes back to Zanzibar and starts the work towards building a new future for the entire community. What started as a dream has now become a beautiful, beautiful reality for the entire community. There are 76 children who are being educated and being given a completely new reality because of the Seeds of Light School. The future is bright for this community. And Renos is here to tell us about the story of how it all began.
Over 500 volunteers have traveled so far from different places around the world, from Mexico to Australia and everything in between. If you ask me this question in 2016, what you expect out of this, I would have never imagined, to tell you, connecting with people that they have so much passion and love in their heart.
This is an incredible story. Welcome to the Rotary in Action podcast. My name is David Royce, and we are here at Expo 2020 at the Rotary Majlis of Friendship. This is an establishment that's been created by the Association of Rotary Clubs of the UAE for the objective of bringing together Rotarians from around the world. And I can tell you, in the past few months that Expo has been running, we have seen Rotarians coming in from every part of the world. We welcome them, we host them, and we have several meetings here, and it's just been an absolute joy to see Rotary grow with Expo 2020 and become a representation here in Dubai. So, our objective here is to bring guests from around the world who are change makers and visionaries who have created an impact in society by giving more than themselves. And today we have Renos with us. Renos is a very special individual. He is a Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Jumeirah, and he is the Community Service Director there. And he is the co-founder of the CR Hope Foundation. The CR Hope Foundation is a school, has a school called the Seeds of Light School in Zanzibar, in Tanzania. And they house and provide education to close to 100 children there. And this project started in 2016, and right now it's doing an absolutely fantastic job in empowering the community. And they have plans of spreading to other countries in the African continent, and they have so many things planned. And I want to talk to the co-founder and learn more about it. And I want to welcome you to the Rotary in Action podcast, to Expo 2020 and the Rotary Majlis of Friendship. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, David. It's a true honor to be here with you today at this unique place.
I want to know more about who is Renos. Tell us a little bit more about what you do in Dubai.
Sure. I've been here in the UAE since 2009. It's almost now 13 years, I would say. My main occupation is marketing. Currently, I'm employed with the Department of Culture and Tourism in Abu Dhabi, and I do digital analytics. And besides that, as you mentioned, I'm the co-founder of CR Hope Foundation, which is almost like a full-time job, where we provide education to underprivileged children in Kizimkazi village in Zanzibar, Tanzania.
Now, the story here is incredible. I'll give a little bit of introduction. I know you went to Zanzibar and you met up with a local there, and there's a little bit of magic of Rotary happened there, and that's what led up to where we are today. Can you tell me a little bit about how the project started?
Absolutely. The story is actually started in 2016. I went for holidays with a small group of people, and I was moved by the poverty and the living conditions of locals. It was the first time for me to witness people being extremely poor, but also happy at the same time. it was a big lesson for me, if you like. This trip made me realize how privileged I am and how thankful I should be in my life. And right there, at this moment, I had my calling, if you like, that I have to do something to prove how grateful I am by helping those people. I didn't know what to do, where to start, but I knew one thing, that I was ready to serve. My initial thought was to find a teacher who will educate the children of the village that I visited English language skills, hoping that they will find a job later in the hospitality sector, which is booming actually. So with this idea in mind, I found myself in a souvenir shop buying some gifts for my friends, and the owner came to me and he was trying to convince me to buy some of his products and resell them in Dubai. I accepted the offer, but my condition was that if we make any profit out of this initiative, I would want to give it to a teacher for the purpose of education. He was very glad to hear that the tourist is really having this kind of intention, and he wanted to join me in this idea by donating his profits also, if we were successful, for the same cause. So a few months later, after being in touch, he asked me how the business is going. I said, listen, I'm not able to sell the products in Dubai, but I really want to help those children. Please find me a teacher. Then he offered me a piece of land as a donation, and his idea was to build a school together, which I accepted. I had to fly back to Zanzibar and go through a process with a lawyer to do some due diligence and so on. And when we signed everything and we set up CR Hope Foundation, which stands for Kosiano, his name, and Renos, my name, Hope to Enlighten the Children of Zanzibar, I asked him why he's donating his land, because it didn't really make any sense, and you don't get often local African people to give land to foreigners. So he told me his story, and it was very interesting, actually. 15 years ago, he was a street seller in Arusha, mainland Tanzania, and his English was very poor. He was trying to sell some gifts to a Canadian tourist, who is also a Rotarian. His name is William Fraser. William Fraser was telling Kosiano, the street seller, that he should learn English in order to improve his sales and make more money. And Mr. Kosiano, the street seller, responded that, I wish I could afford it, but I don't have time and I don't have money. I have a family to feed. So the kind Rotarian, Mr. William, sponsored his English language lessons for 6 months, and he gave him enough money to feed his family for this period. So Kosiano indeed attended the classes, he learned English, and then went back to the streets more confident than ever. And one day he met another tourist who is an owner of a hotel in Zanzibar, who told him, hey, your English is good and you sell gifts. We have a small hotel in Zanzibar. Why don't you come and work with us and sell souvenirs in our hotel? So Mr. Kosiano traveled to Zanzibar and he started working for this hotel. 5 years later, after saving a lot of money, he was able to open his own souvenir shop. So he told me that from a street seller, he became a businessman thanks to English language. And he always wanted to give back, but he didn't know how. And the moment I met him, and I was very clear about what I want to do, to find a teacher, to teach the children English language skills, he felt that this was his chance to do something and give back, if you like. I was very touched by his story, to the point where I wanted to find Mr. William Fraser and interview him, similar to what you do. And I was able to find him 3 months later.
How did you manage that?
Mr. Kosiano found his email address. Okay. And so I emailed him, and then we arranged the Skype call where we had a conversation from human to human. And this was the reason why I joined Rotary as well, because I wasn't very familiar back then with the concept and the spirit. And this gentleman is actually used to be a teacher. He has helped many people to learn English across Asia, South America, and Africa. He's a teacher by profession, as I mentioned, and he was visiting at the time Africa for a water sanitation project. And he would buy in bulk some souvenirs from the streets so he can do some auctions back in his club in Canada to raise money and sustain the project. So a very humble man. He's the godfather of Sierra Hope Foundation, and I want every child in our school to follow this example by being the one to give first, plant the seed, and then the magic will happen. This ripple effect is actually wonderful.
So one man taught another person the English language and planted a seed, and that's how this project started.
Absolutely.
That's really, really powerful. We never know how far our little acts of kindness go, and this is a very big example of how important it is to just go out of our way and just do the smallest thing. It can go such a far distance. I'm so happy to hear this. Rotarians, I've been in this organization for 5 to 6 years myself, and one thing that I understand about Rotarians, they go out of their way to help other people. And to the outside world, it'll sound crazy because they're leaving their family behind, traveling to other countries. And only when we hear stories like this of the far-reached impact do we really then understand, oh my God, it's really fantastic.
It's true, and I guess I can relate to what you just said. It is a hard journey. It's been a hard journey, bumpy, but so rewarding. Especially at the beginning when you don't know where you're going, you're not sure.
Can you tell me a little bit about how we started back in 2016 and give me the milestones?
Sure. 2016, met with Cosiano. By the end of the year, we had set up Sierra Hope Foundation. 2017, we laid the first brick as a foundation for our project. I reached out to people to ask for assistance, but I couldn't find any support. Then I realized that I have to use my own resources and money, if you like. I ended up spending 1/3 of my salary for a long time to prove that this is something real and it's happening, because people wouldn't really believe in our story, and they were trying to protect me from being, misled by a local African. So we had to really unite with my partner and believe in what we do. So 2020, the school is finally opening in January on the 18th of the month, which was aligned with my birthday. And that was just a random coincidence, which is actually the biggest blessing for me to celebrate my birthday around my friends, my family, and the community members, and of course the beneficiaries. So 2020 is the opening of the school. 2021, a big group from Dubai called Fathers and Kids Camping visits Sierra Hope Foundation, and they help us extend our school from 5 classrooms to 10 classrooms, build a very nice, state-of-the-art, I would say, playground area, and install a solar farm because we had issues with electricity. 2022, today we have close to 100 children, as you mentioned, in particular 72, I would say, from 3 to 8 years old. And over 500 volunteers have traveled so far from different places around the world, from Mexico to Australia and everything in between, to support this idea, support our teachers, and spread love in the community, which is kind of the best thing that ever happened to me, because I would never imagine that I will meet like-minded people along this journey. If you ask me this question in 2016 what you expect out of this, I would have never imagined, to tell you, connecting with people that they have so much passion and love in their heart.
This is an incredible story. Now, I would also like to understand the tipping point, meaning as the years passed by, what would you say is that moment in time that really the hardships didn't matter anymore and the future became very bright? What do you think is that moment in your journey?
Well, actually, I'll tell you, the hardships first. It's important to know that when, as a foreigner in a country, in a village that they have different beliefs, different culture, and even different race, for me, it was very hard to be trusted, and that's normal, and that's absolutely fine. So I had to prove myself. They thought that I have an agenda to change the religion, as they're Muslim, and I happen to be Christian. But you know, at Rotary, we don't have any differences of gender, political views, religion. We are all one in the end. So it took me 2 years to build trust with the community. The tipping point was the opening of the school. It was after I gained the trust from the community with actions, not with words, of course. And I saw the smiles of the children, the first batch of students, and their parents, how much trust and joy they had on this particular day, because they offer us their children, hoping that we will provide them with the right tools to become the future leaders of the community and the country as a whole. And a very good example is that the current president in Tanzania, who accidentally took this position because the past president passed away in March 2021, so she took over as a vice president. She is actually from this village.
Wow.
Both of her parents. So the first thing I thought is, what incredible news this is, because I went to the students and said, you can be anything you like Mama Samia, as we call the president,
wow.
From this village, so please aim high, and nothing is impossible.
I can imagine the children that are being benefited by this. Now, after this, the organization Fathers with Kids Go campaign came, they built the foundation for 5 more classrooms, and they built a playground and a solar farm. So now there's hope for the children to keep advancing their education. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Our vision is to build the secondary school. We have 3 years ahead of us to do this right, and of course to work on the curriculum in the meantime. Other plans is to take this model in other countries. I'm having some discussions with people who want to replicate our model in Mozambique. I would be very glad to see this materializing. It's like a seed that we can plant in different countries. And ultimately, what I want to do is to give the tools to the students of fundraising, pretty much the journey that I went through, so they can also become the ones who are setting up similar initiatives in Africa and worldwide. So that's one of my goals. We want to also extend our school now to become a base camp and host students from international schools, as this is very important now for students to get credits for volunteering hours. We already have existing relationships with some universities, but I want to see more and more students in the coming months and years.
Is this a part of the volunteering opportunities with your school?
Absolutely, yes.
Can you explain how someone in the UAE is now inspired to come and maybe just come and visit and spend 2 weeks? Would that be beneficial to you?
Absolutely, yes.
How would that work for somebody?
Okay, so the application process is quite straightforward. From our website, crhopefoundation.org, there's a relevant section. And then we do provide accommodation and meals, transportation from the airport. So we take care of everything. The first days we do induction, and then we have a specific program so the volunteers know exactly what they're doing. The main focus is to support the teachers, the local teachers, in the classrooms with educational support, but also we have incorporated other components in our program, including plantation and gardening workshops, because we care a lot about the environment. We do a lot of beach cleanups and recycling. Now we introduced robotics. And yeah, of course, depending on the skills of each volunteer, for example, we have yoga instructors, meditation practitioners, arts and crafts, and so on. So each volunteer brings their own value in the platform, which is quite great. And now what I see is that volunteers are taking initiatives and they develop our project even further. For example, I get messages from them saying, do you mind if we build a fire pit so we can stay at night and gaze at stars around the fire? I'm like, please feel free to do it. Of course, I provide them with everything that they need. Or if they want to do inventory in the library, the stockroom, like they take their own lead. And that's also part of volunteering, to be proactive and always available to serve.
You did mention that the current president is from the village, Kizimkazi village. How have you been able to connect with the government? And if not yet, how do you think the project would advance if the government came on board? And what would you like to see as an objective if you could hold hands with them?
Absolutely. So our students so far had the honor to be present to the president. There was an event called the Kizimkazi Festival, where schools from this village had to do a sports day, which was followed by a speech by Mama Samia. I can say that she has already started building a hospital in this village, widening the roads from the airport to this area, and also building a port to connect Dar es Salaam, which is the capital, with our village. This is a massive support and help and development for our area, because previously it was just a fisherman village, not as touristically known as other areas, but now the attention is in this village, and you know, it's quite impressive. My expectations from the involvement from the government are very low. We're a private school. All what we need is support from the Ministry of Education to give us the right tools and their blessings to continue developing our curriculum. So apparently, the niece of the president is our student. So she's very well aware of what we're doing. So I'm not having any expectations. So whatever comes, it would be a gift and a blessing. So already we have many reasons to be thankful for her presence.
I'm so happy to hear this. I want to ask you, on a personal note, how has your life changed when you compare the time before this project and to now? What has really moved you in your personal life?
Okay, I'm just going to talk now. This is a personal question. It's non-Rotarian. I mean, before I was introduced to this project and I was not a member of Rotary, and after, this is a massive change. Before, I was more of a person who cares about myself and material things. And after is, I completely changed my mindset and the way I see life. My reward is the smile of the people who need support, and this is the ultimate blessing. So from a person who was receiving more, I became to a person who is giving and expecting nothing in return, just a smile. And so I think that says it all.
What would be your guidelines if you were to release a book to advise Rotarians and members of this organization? This is what we can do. This is what Rotary has the potential to do. From your travel experiences with connecting with the Rotary clubs around the world, what would be your message to the Rotarians in the UAE and to the Rotary family worldwide?
The Rotary members worldwide are esteemed people with very good skills, they have very good positions and a good heart. So that's fundamental. I would advise everyone to use their capacity and come together with fellow Rotarians to serve and create, because they all have the capacity. I'm not different than anyone else. I just used all my energy and passion to deliver. And something that was feeling impossible for my friends and my family, when I told them that I'm starting this project, they said, "You must be out of your mind. I mean, this is a huge risk." I was so committed and determined. And the only tools I had was my marketing skills, which is irrelevant to education or construction. But marketing turned out to be the most useful tool, because I created awareness and I encouraged participation of esteemed partners now that we have as part of a CSR project. So bottom line is, come together, use your heart, and deliver.
I'm so pleased to know you, Renos, because every time we have a conversation, I am inspired to go beyond my own limitations and beliefs, to go and give myself to service. Thank you so much for joining us. Your message is one of pure service, and I know you personally, so I can attest to the fact that you are a humble, good-hearted man with a good mission, and I'm so happy to see the progress you have made.
Thank you very much. Again, it's a true honor. You are a very special person, and I wish you all the best. We're together in this.
Thank you so much, Renos.
Thank you.
Thank you.